You got it.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. And today I get to interview my friend Andrew Conti, who is the business developer at Media OS. Many of you already know Andrew. He's a huge connector, networker, and value bringer in the industry. And I'd like to. Well, first of all, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you, Johnny. Thank you for having me.
It's so good to see you, man. Good to spend time with you. So the first thing I want to ask you, one thing you want people to know about you is that your default is to help, right? And that's just who you are. Can you tell us a little bit more about how about that and how you came by it?
Sure. Should I start where I started? I was the second hire at CWC Software that published QuickFill, became a wildly popular in-house subscription fulfillment system. It was
I
back when
remember.
they had 5.25-inch floppy drives and all of that. So I was the second hire at CWC Software. Ended up there for 24 years. Sold 1,400 publishers QuickFill, which was a great run, great system, great platform. That's where I got my chops in publishing and sales right out of school. So that's where I got my start, and I learned that I was dealing with all different levels of publishers. People that were just had the dream to launch a publication, people that were tried and true newsletter information, specialized information publishers looking to get a more economical way to do fulfillment. So in meeting all of these different types of publishers, I learned to really appreciate the entrepreneurial ones, the ones who were just launching, just starting out, had no idea but had a dream about their subject matter and was passionate about it. And I love that. So
Yeah.
helping them on the publishing side was just a natural for me, wanting them to succeed and helping them network. Where's the best printer? How do I know? How do I deal with postage? What's the average renewal series? How does this work? What's important? And the key is renewals. That's where your bread and butter is. So that was really where I got my start was CWC Software, and it was a great run.
So what was it about the entrepreneurial, passionate types that kind of drew you in?
I always fancied myself an entrepreneurial guy, but never had the guts to do it. I was always afraid to kind of go off on my own. So
Yeah.
I envied them, to be honest. I
Yeah.
really did. I
Yeah.
thought,
Yeah.
wow, this is somebody that's got a dream, and if I can help them realize their dream, that's a pretty powerful feeling, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it was envy.
Yeah.
How's
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, I
Yeah. No,
really
I
wish
love
I
it.
could have been them, and
Yeah.
some of them became wildly successful. So that's
Yeah.
great.
Well, and I think that does say something about you. I mean, notwithstanding the term envy, right? But I think what it says about you is you had this desire, the secret
Hmm.
desire, and rather than that making you bitter towards these people that were out like actively doing it, it made you want to be an advocate and a helper,
Sure. Advocate for the
which
dream.
which I think is beautiful, man. I think it's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Thank you.
And sometimes, yeah, sometimes that does happen for us where it's like, okay, well, I'm going to help you then.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, exactly. It's such
Yeah.
a dog eat dog sometimes, not always, but in the industry. And I pride myself in, doing right by people and being able to sleep at night and feel like, if I can come up with a win-win-win where everybody's got what they need, that's the perfect
Yeah.
world.
Well, and the market, I think, testifies to what you're claiming, right? Like you said, you sold 1,400 publishers quick fill.
Yeah.
That's a lot of yeses,
That's a
right?
lot of yeses. Yeah. 24
That's
years, when you divide it out, it's okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's a long time.
But that's a lot of people voting
Yeah.
voting with their money
Yep.
for you to some degree because when you're in sales, you're the face of the business a lot of times.
Sure am.
So were you always a kind of connector helper type of a guy, even as what were you like as a kid?
What was I like as a kid? That's a good question. I was, involved in sports, involved in the community, really passionate about my hobbies. My hobby, I still, to this day, I'm really into classic European cars, and that's where, that's where the money goes. It could have been boats, so it could have been worse, or airplanes, but
Yeah,
cars. Classic,
yeah,
classic European cars are my passion. But Big fan of community. Grew up on Cape Cod, and in the winters there are very quiet at the time. It wasn't as popular a place, so you really did build your network and your friends and help out.
Yeah. Yeah. And you felt that always came naturally to you, or was it learned?
Uh, no, very naturally, very just that's what you did. My parents give them credit to raising me. You do, if you can help, you help. You do right by everyone, and hopefully they do right by you. That doesn't mean they're always going to, but never say never, and don't count on anything is my mom's motto. So,
Never say never and don't count on anything.
but don't count on anything. Never say it's never going to happen, but don't count on it.
So what posture does that create? So let's look at that because
Sure.
like I love those maxims. They usually have like a
Mm-hmm.
deep cavern of wisdom underneath them, right? So what posture is that cultivating?
It's really the ability to do anything. I feel that you can be whoever you want, do whatever you want, and go as far as you can. So never say you can't do something, but always have a backup plan. Have a plan B,
Yeah.
but just don't
Right.
don't count on it too much because
Right.
it's a big cliff to fall off of if you don't have a parachute.
Well, don't count on the world handing it to you, right?
Correct.
Also.
Absolutely. No.
Yeah.
No. No.
No.
It's you've got to
I
earn it.
love which means that then you've got permission to risk.
Exactly. And that's where my envy of entrepreneurs comes because the money it takes to get something going is significant, and I'm very cautious investor, very cautious with time. And parents taught me time is pretty precious. You really should make the most of your time, and I'm grateful for that. That's kind of my motto. You're paid for a job, do your job, work as hard as you can, be honest, be able to hit the pillow at night and sleep soundly. If you can take the day away with helping someone move their ball farther down the field and it isn't going to score for you, that's okay too. It all comes
Yeah, man.
back.
That's one of the byproducts of doing as many interviews as I do. Is every once in a while I get to hear like the wisdom of previous generations just kind of bubble up through people. And I hear that. I feel like I hear your family. I feel like I hear your community, right? The community you grew up in, and kind of a quiet, tightly knit community where everybody's expected to contribute and help and work for the good of the community, which that's not the way the world is set up any place that I've ever been. I've never seen that kind of a community, like geographically, where geography and a sense of loyalty to that geography was even a feature. I don't know what that's like. So that's a special thing. I think am I naming it correctly? Was that
Yeah,
what you experienced?
correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much so. Grew up in an Italian family, very traditional Roman Catholic Italian family. That family first, and build a village, build your village, keep your people close.
And that's how you do sales. And that's why
That's
why you
exactly how I do sales. It's building a network. My network is my superpower. That's my Rolodex with a sense of humor. That's my superpower. I just know a lot of people that have a lot of superpowers of their own, and connecting the dots has done me well. It's really served me well in this industry, and it's a great industry to be in. It's a good village.
Dude, I love it, man. That's where you and I really connect, I think, because I push on that a lot, right? Just the idea of there's a book, and I haven't read this book, but the title is very, very explanatory. It says your network is your net worth, right? Like that's the
Amen. True.
sentiment there. And yeah, I think that there's so much that becomes possible when we're minded towards investing deeply in the people around us to understand them. And one of the greatest gifts you can give is attention, right? Like attention is
Your
is
time.
your life directed and focused on a single point. And so when you give attention to the people around you and you care about their stories, and then you begin to connect them with other people that can help them towards their dream, I mean, what's better than that? I don't know.
It's incredibly empowering, and it really is. it's nice to be able to walk into an event or in a room, and know folks that have that energy towards you. It's fantastic. Publishing's just such a great large village of really really cool, bright people with great ideas. And it's nice to be part of that energy. It's nice to feel that in a room, at a conference especially. Just connecting.
People trying to accomplish something big together, entrepreneurial people, but also people who are, bonded by the struggle too, right? And the difficulty.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. It's very cool to see. So
the new
so
postal rates are up today, as a matter of fact. Talking about the struggle. Yeah, the postal rates went up today.
Yeah, it's very real, man. Take me a little bit further on that journey, right? So you have this superpower. Your superpower is your network, as you put it, right? Like it's this ability to connect and to have this small town trust that you cultivate in your relationships, authenticity. Tell me about how you've ridden that superpower through your life up until now. How about that?
Sure.
Complicated question.
For building a big, deep bench of industry professionals that I consider friends, which most of these folks I really truly consider friends. They're the kind of people that would, text me industry gossip on a Saturday afternoon. They're the kind of people that might call me, we're headed to Cape Cod. Where's a good seafood place to get lobster? Those kind of friendships. And I love that. I love that network of friends that will help each other move towards their goals. Again, CWC for 24 years, and then I moved into the services industry at Publisher Service Associates. I was there for 12 years selling services. So I was selling services to a lot of people that I had already sold the software to. And at the time, it was really around when credit card exposure was the fines were ridiculous, and it just made sense to move from a open, environment software-wise to a kind of hermetically sealed fulfillment house that would have the SOC certifications and all the need for the publisher. So did that successfully for 12 years, moved a lot of previous clients on QuickFill over to a QuickFill platform. I actually sold QuickFill to the service bureau that I was working at for 12 years, and then moved on to what I'm doing now, which we can talk about at any point.
Well, now, this is a story. This is story time, man.
Sure,
You're telling us the story of Andrew.
Then I was made an offer to work for MediaOS, which is kind of the perfect place for me to be right now. It's a SaaS software platform that offers, all of the features that QuickFill had, from the fulfillment and circulation side, but in a beautiful way. It also incorporates, ad server, CRM, CDP, all in one spot. So there's all this data that's residing in one spot. It's first-party data that can be monetized in any number of ways with a single sign-on. It's pretty fantastic place to be. With that, my role at MediaOS has become, originally it started out as strategic client services, and it's kind of morphed with my network into business development, and that part of the storyline opens up services. So we are very excited about services partners, so that the power of MediaOS as a SaaS platform can also have a services component to it, and that opens me up to RFPs from consultants for services. So it's going to be a different offering for the industry, in that you take what you need and you leave the rest, kind of like an AA meeting, I guess. But you're able to, if you want to have a service bureau take on everything powered by MediaOS, that's an option. If you want them just to take on the inbound calling or the mailing work, that's an option. So it's a hybrid that the industry hasn't seen yet, that leaves the best of everything, I feel, as options, and there's no heavy contracts, and it's a nice place to see. I think the industry is going to be pretty impressed with what we're rolling out.
So I'm going to tie this all together actually a little bit because we got to talk about you and your gift and kind of this connector helper gift that's been with you your entire life. We got to see how that allowed you to kind of work at these different companies. And I'll notate here that you worked at, 24 years at one and 12 years at another. So you stay for a long time wherever you're planted, right?
This is my last job, Johnny.
Yeah.
This is it. This is the last hurrah. This is job number 3 out of school. So I'm happy to say that. I guess I just like my parking space.
Absolutely, man. But it makes sense. You're a small town guy that likes to dig deep with people.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Right? Like I think
sure
that's
do.
the story. And so you're looking through this lens, whether you know it or not, of connection and helping people, which I think you do know it. But then you know, what was it about Media OS? Because again, you have all this experience behind you, 36 years of experience behind you, deep time bonding with publishers, understanding the entrepreneur, knowing what they need. This opportunity comes up and you take it. Well, obviously you take it because you thought it was an opportunity to do more help and more good for the people that you've learned to love and care about, right? Tell me how that came together.
Absolutely. Good question. It's really the platform. The platform addresses, when I was back at CWC and even a little bit when I was at PSA, but back at CWC, everybody was looking for that one source platform that handled the ads, that served the ads, that handled the selling the conference space, that handled the sending out the bills and renewals and producing the labels to send to the printer and handling the audit demographics. And it never existed. You were always in these siloed databases that really needed to talk well and play well to each other, and it just didn't exist. So when Joel Pape rolled out Media OS as an option for me, and initially he just showed it to me. He just said, "What do you think of this, Andrew? I've known Joel for decades." So I thought, wow, this is pretty great.
That's Joel Pape, the founder. Joel Pape, the founder.
Joel Pape, the founder of Media OS, and thought it was pretty great. We had a few conversations about ideas that I had just even before we talked about working together. I said, "This is what I would do with this, Joel. This is really good stuff," and it became a job. All of a sudden, it became a job. So there was a paycheck with Pape Ventures on it coming my way, and couldn't be happier. I'm allowed the autonomy, build it, Andrew, and we'll see what comes. And I love that. I love that. That's a good place for me to wrap up my career.
So you get to exercise finally some of that entrepreneurial spirit.
Yes, exactly. I can be my own entrepreneur with Joel's money, which is even better. Doesn't get better than that.
Good on
Let
you,
me
bro.
spend Joel's money and see what I can make.
Yeah. Dude, it makes it so. I interviewed Joel a couple months ago, and part of what surfaced in that conversation was just he has this insane drive to swing for the fences, right? And so he's actually willing to raise his hand and step into dreams that are bigger and harder than most people would be willing to do.
Absolutely.
And so the name of his interview is Swinging for the Crazy. That's what it's called because that's how he put it. Swinging for the Crazy, because this vision, I mean, I'm in the industry too, so I understand like the multiple publishing functions that he's trying to put together in one place so that there is that kind of single sign-on, one source. All the data can talk to each other because it's all these functions have been brought into this one platform. Few people have tried it and no one's been able to do it, right? Because it's so hard to do that, to build all the technology and then build it so that it rationally connects with the other pieces.
Correct. That's the key to, and it's truly, okay. So I've demoed, because I have such a large network of consultants in the industry, I've demoed Media OS and I'm batting 1,000. Everybody was just Like, this is just incredible. This is incredible. Now, before I even decided I was going to sign on with Joel, I had two industry consultants that I respect immensely, just super bright people. I asked them to get demos of this to give me their opinion. And one of them, quote, was, Andrew, you'd be an idiot not to work for this company. This is a game changer. This is an absolute
Yeah.
game changer. The other consultant said, Andrew, I have some big accounts that I'd be happy to. If you can figure out the services part, happy to move over. So I said, Joel, let's do it. Let's play ball. Let's go.
Dude, so huge, man. I love it. And like it takes digging in with somebody, like, because so often I think we go around in this world and people see our title and they see who we work for, and but it's shallow. But a lot of times when you get to dig in with somebody and find the story, like, you're trying to do good in the world, man. You're trying to do good for your community. And your leap to Media OS had to do with seeing the ability to increase that impact for this industry that you learned to love, which I just respect it, man. I honor that. I just want to name it, and I want to put a human face on it, right? Yes,
Cool.
Andrew
Yeah.
is a dude over here just trying to harness all these things inside of him, the helpfulness, the connection, and the entrepreneurialism in one place. And you found a place, dude. So
I found
congratulations.
my final home, hopefully.
Yeah, yeah, man.
This is it.
Yep, yep. You're the type of dude that stays.
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
so usually the gift that we give to the world is the gift that we were given. So I told you I was going to ask this. And so, what is the gift that Andrew gives to the world that was given to you in some way? And it might be a little redundant, but I think it's worth asking this
Sure.
question.
Sure. Empathy. Just being able to listen to someone's story intently, give them that window of time and listen to the words, get a feeling for the vibe. And if there's being able to offer any, sometimes you can't offer help. You can't answer the question, but just offering a sounding board. If there is a direction or an idea or some way to help them repoint if they're in a bad space, sure, let me help you. And just being there, being consistent, that's key in this world. Is just be consistent, be true to your word, and be a harbor. Sometimes you just still water and listen.
Safe harbor, still water. Is that some of your Cape Cod coming out?
That's very Cape Cod. That's very Cape Cod.
Yeah.
Again, I'm so glad I didn't get into the boating. I was in the boating thing for a little while, but it got too rich for my blood. So I said, all right, no more boating for Andrew.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I love that, man. Empathy, helpfulness,
Sure.
being a safe harbor for people, being still water for people. That's who
Being an
you are
ear,
and how you
just
show up.
being a good ear to listen to what their issue is, work wise or personally, and it really builds bonds. And knowing that I have that option to reach out to folks in the industry that I know, trust, and truly love in some cases, and just it's great. It's a great village.
And it can be hard. I don't know. Have you noticed this? It can be hard for people to learn to navigate being able to show up the way that you're describing, like to show up as your authentic self, show up as a listener, show up as somebody who's not trying to get something, but somebody who's trying to give attention and give an ear and give empathy. And in sales, you can sometimes feel a tension between, okay, but I have these quotas, right? And so we see people, I think, in sales, and I think to the detriment of our profession, we see people kind of switch back and forth between, okay, today I'm nice guy who cares about you, but tomorrow I really need you to sign these papers, right? I really need to. I'm going to use these mechanisms to try to leverage you into a deal with me. How have you learned to navigate between those pressures?
At CWC, we used to track every sale that came in, and we had this big map outside of my office in the hallway. And Bill Bean was one of the owners of CWC at the time, and he took pleasure in putting little push pins in every state, in every town, Pushpin amounted to a closed deal, and we had this big. But we would also track the source and how we source these opportunities. Word of mouth, Johnny, was our best source for new business from 1993 on. And a big part of that is just keeping your promises, staying true to yourself, and building an energy around your product and the people that support your product. Because with software, it's only as good as the people that support the software. When I was selling services, I'm only as good as the human beings providing the services. So,
Yes.
really acknowledging that the contract that I just got signed is for all of these other people in my village to make the trains get there on time. So it's really that. It's just, I never fancied myself as people, looking at people here and people here differently. They're all a collective that's going to get the ball down the field. Hopefully I can be part of the team and go down there with it. So staying consistent, again, going back to just being true to yourself and being yourself, not feeling like there's another persona you need to be at a trade show and all of that.
Yeah. It's deceptively
and I found
hard.
that even if I couldn't help, even if there wasn't an opportunity for a sale, if I'd recommend other products that were, a little bit more sophisticated than what I was selling at the time when I was selling quick fill, it always came back in spades. They would send me other opportunities, or they would move on to another company where the product I was selling was a better fit. Word of mouth, 93 on was my gold, truly.
That's so good. It's so good, man. It reminds me of that book that I mentioned to you in our pre-conversation, The Go-Giver by Bob Berg and John David Mann. So for those of you listening, if you haven't read that book, that book's been formative for me and how I do sales, but how I do a lot of life is based on the principles of the Go-Giver. And Andrew hasn't read it yet, but Andrew is a poster child. You're a poster child of the philosophy of that book, which is, man, go and create value. Go create value in the world and see what comes back to you. And right, like so often people are saying, well, I want to focus on my compensation. I want to increase my compensation. And he says, no, focus on value and your compensation will increase. Right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're relentlessly focused on bringing value into the world, value to other people. And that's been game changer for me, and how I do life. So, as we start to come to a close, Andrew, what advice do you have for the industry that you love? What advice do you have for publishers right now in this age of a lot of disruption, a lot of change, a lot of trying to figure out ways to innovate, varying levels of difficulty and challenge happening for people? What message do you have, or what advice do you have?
I think really the best advice I'd have, and I've given this to folks that I've talked to, that is really go back to your core, look at what the value your publication brings, what your loyal readers are buying, and figure out how to monetize what you already have. Look to see if there's any evergreen content that could be spun off into a pamphlet, a book. There's publishers I have that spend a fortune on photography, beautiful photography. You own the rights to those photos. Maybe it's a picture book, or maybe it's a calendar or something. Just look at monetizing what you already have to keep, some cases, unfortunately, to keep the lights on, but also look at spin-off opportunities. And I also believe you've got this community of readers, loyal readers, certain hobbies that are very, very specialized. Build a village around that. Really, really build a village and build a community, and have people want to go to your website and share their experience as to why they're so passionate about whatever the subject matter may be. And monetizing it just comes along for the ride, but really focus on the village part. Focus on your loyal readers. And usually with the smaller entrepreneurs or the people that launched because they were passionate about the subject matter, that's not news to them. Believe me, Johnny, that's not news. Some people who bought those publications thinking they were going to make huge money, it is kind of news to them. But the tried and true entrepreneurs that launched pubs, they know why they did. And their readers know why they read.
Oh, so good, man. So good. Go back to your core. That was the first thing you said.
Absolutely.
and then you said, yeah, I love you keep bringing us back to this kind of Cape Cod, build a village idea, which I just think is so it just comes out of you, and and the idea of community. I have to sneeze. Oh, I
God bless
hate
you.
it when
There you go.
that's
God
the
bless you.
worst.
Got it in.
That's the worst. Um, I would say kind of what I heard in the latter things that you were saying, become a hub for your community, um, become become the hub of conversation for your community. Is that am I saying I'm putting more
Absolutely.
words
Yeah.
to it,
Be the
but
point person. Be
yeah,
a person, and especially from a sales seat that I'm sitting in, uh, getting that information flowing and offering a solution that might involve something that you have that you're
yep,
selling. That's even better, right?
yep,
But it doesn't
yep,
always have to be something you're selling. Sometimes it's just offering the solution, and when their contract is up somewhere else, they're going to remember that.
yep. Yeah, man, that's good advice. I actually, yeah, I said that was the last question, but I have one more. Um, as you kind of behold the media landscape, who do you watch? Like, and I'm talking about vendors who are innovating. I'm talking, what I like to call partners, because a good vendor is more of a partner than a vendor, um, or publishers who are innovating. Who do you kind of keep on your any particular shops or that you keep on your radar?
I tend to watch organizations, publishing collectives, and the Renewed Group. I don't know if you're familiar with Renewed, RENEWD. Renewed. It's a not-for-profit association that was formed as a spin-off from the Specialized Information Publishers Association.
Yeah,
Ed Coburn.
SIPA. Yeah.
Yep, it's the new SIPA, Renewed. It's Ed Coburn
Oh,
and Stephanie Williford have launched a few years now, and I went to their conference this year. That's the place where I get the ideas, the vibe, the pulse, because the newsletter publishers are really the ones that are monetizing their content. They're really doing it, and they have to figure out many different ways to do that and creatively. And a lot of these are bootstrap entrepreneurs. So that's the place to find the gold. And a lot of it transfers over to, B2C, B2B. It's just these really entrepreneurial minds that are very creative and collective. So renewed.net. Look it up.
dude, love it.
Good
Man,
stuff.
that's actually good for me to know. I'm paying attention to Substack right now. I got to interview the founder over there about a month ago, and I, all of my newsletters, this newsletter that people are about, when they engage in this content is most likely going to come through my Substack newsletter. And man, they've got some really
I'll have to look.
some amazing
I'm
creators
familiar
over
with
there.
Substack. I just haven't taken a deeper dive into them. But if Johnny likes it, then Andrew's going to learn to at least know about it.
Yeah, you'll want to know about it because I think when you
Yeah.
say SIPA, I think there's some
Yeah.
seriously some overlap in kind of the passion and um, the ethos behind that group. But man, Andrew, what an amazing conversation. I love hearing people's stories. I love your story. I love what you're about, dude. I
Thank you.
think you're easy to be around. You're a great. I can tell you're a great listener and a great friend. So thanks for joining us today, man.
Thank you. We appreciate your time.
All right, everybody, we'll check you next time. Take it easy.
Bye, everybody.